the conversation, but I think you have just managed to totally change the conversation in the elections. I don't know if any of you have seen the New York Times today, but it's all about how Newt Gingrich is now bringing your message, our message of we the people. Gingrich is now accusing Romney of using the Wall Street model in Bain Capital, which Romney is strutting for, this is how we create jobs. It's now Newt Gingrich himself, the poster child of Wall Street politics, now saying that the Wall Street model finds clever ways to rob our businesses, take the money out, and leave the workers stranded. That is now the subject of the Republican dialogue. That is a victory for the 99%. So I'd say give yourself a hand right there. Yeah. But the thing is, we've got these poster child candidates who are themselves running on Wall Street money. As you know, Newt Gingrich himself was the victim of that very organization, Citizens United, that he helped create and who he's been a cheerleader for. He's now their victim. So it's basically this theater of the absurd that really says what American politics has become and why it's so important that we take American politics back. And this election really is a perfect storm to do that. That is what you guys are doing. I'm going to pass around a couple flyers here, and I have some more that I can pass out, because I think we don't have to be left high and dry. We don't have to be left saying these guys are all corrupt. We actually have a voice in this election. Our campaign is organizing now to be on the ballot in just about every state. We are part of a national party that has been fighting this battle for a long time. American politics didn't get sold out and corrupt overnight. As you know, this has been a long time coming, that big money has been stealing American politics for a long time. Citizens United decision, the Supreme Court decision 2 years ago, made it much worse, but it has been in effect for quite some time. You've had to be a millionaire for a long time. What do the political parties run on? Both the Democrats and Republicans run on big corporate money. 4 years ago, what did Barack Obama win the race with? Wall Street money. And what is he running it on again? It's Wall Street money. So these are long-standing fatal flaws in our political system, and it's thanks to you that these issues have finally emerged into the public dialogue, and we can start to fight back and to take it back. So you know well that Wall Street is not only running our economy, they're running our politics, they've co-opted our healthcare system, they've privatized our education, they've put college basically out of reach to ordinary mortals. Students are coming out of college now up to their eyeballs in college loans. It's 30 million American college students and recent graduates who are basically indentured servants coming out of college now and unable to repay these loans because the unemployment rate, which isn't really 8.5%, is at least double that when you consider the people who stopped looking for work, the people who have part-time jobs, the people who cannot support themselves or a family on the declining workers' wages brought to us by the likes of Bain Capital. When Mitt Romney talks about 100,000 jobs that he created, what kinds of jobs are these? We've lost good wage jobs thanks to the free trade agreements that have been negotiated by Democrats and Republicans. We've lost good-paying jobs, and when they're coming back, to the extent they are, they're coming back as low-wage jobs in the $8 to $10 range, actually, instead of what used to be the $15 to $20 range. So, this is not working. What kinds of solutions are they proposing? More of the same, basically. Wall Street corporations are sitting on more cash than they've ever had. Their profits are higher than they've ever been. They are not hiring. They are not loaning. More of the same in a Democratic hat under Barack Obama or under a Republican hat is not going to solve this for us. And it how we fix this. We can create jobs. We know how to do that. We had a New Deal during the Great Depression that got us out of it. We are talking about a Green New Deal, so that where businesses will not create jobs or cannot, that government will help create those jobs. And it doesn't have to happen through some big Washington bureaucracy. It can happen through local nonprofits, through state banks, through our municipalities. At the community level, we want to create community-based small businesses and cooperatives, including worker cooperatives, so that we, the people, are defining the kinds of businesses that we need. We can use the money that we're paying now for unemployment instead to help create those jobs and jumpstart these businesses to create green and clean manufacturing, sustainable, local, healthy agriculture, and the kind of food that we need in order to be healthy people and a healthy planet. We can create the public transportation, which includes bike riding and safe sidewalks and all that dovetail with our clean buses and rail transit, so that we actually have an active form of transportation, because we know that's really critical to what makes us healthy. As we go green, we clean up the air pollution, so we don't have that contributing to this incredible epidemic of chronic disease, which is not only making us sick, it's also making us bankrupt. And we can convert to clean energy, which is also our best policy for national security, because it makes wars for oil obsolete. As we bring the troops home, which we also need to do, we restore the money to be able to create the economy we need, to be able to create that economic conversion. So there's a very happy narrative here, which is a win-win-win for we the people, the planet, and peace. We can do it all with the resources we have right now. It's all about the political empowerment, about breaking the chains and psychological warfare that tells us that we don't have the power. We do have the power, and thank you, Occupy Wall Street, for making that clear that we do have the power. I encourage you to just get in touch with us, with our campaign. We're going to be working here in New Hampshire to be sure that we are on the ballot, so that we, the 99%, can use this election to move forward. Whether we win it with 52% of the vote or we win it with 2%, it doesn't matter. We win by taking our voices back and by beginning to recreate our democracy. If our voices aren't in this election, it is not a democracy, because all of the others are sponsored by corporate America. We will be that one voice for democracy in this race all the way in 50 states. So I encourage you to be a part of us. I'm going to just open it up to your comments and your discussion. And
can I ask you a question?
Please, yes. That's what I would love you to do. I'm also going to pass out a sign-up sheet. So if you're interested in being in touch, just give me your, your info, and let's be in touch going down the pipe. Sorry, thank you. Good. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead.
Would you support if we legislate an anti-bribery law, like punishment will be death penalty? Would you support that?
Well, you raise a couple of issues. I think it's really important that we get this legalized corruption out of our political system, and there are many ways that we can do that. And we don't have to use the death penalty to do it. I actually oppose the death penalty for a whole variety of reasons. But I agree with your principle. We need to get this corruption out of American politics. It really is killing us, and we do not have a future to look forward to until we get the money out of politics and get corporations out of the White House, get Wall Street out of the White House, and get corporations out of our political parties and our government.
In 1989, during the Hungarian Revolution,
yes,
they took Ceausescu out by firing squad because of and since then, the Hungarian people said they don't need a death penalty anymore.
Thank you. That's good to hear. Other thoughts, comments? Yeah.
We just came from President Obama's campaign office here in town, and his lowest level campaign person there would not relay our demands to anybody even one step up the chain from him. He wouldn't even make a phone call or send an email. Finally got him to agree to send it to somebody. He went inside and never came out again. They blew us off entirely. Total disrespect from that office. So I'm in the undecided category. So I'm listening.
Great. And I think what you just saw from the Obama office is what we've been seeing basically for 4 years. You know, we were told that he was going to end the war, you know, that he was going to create an economy for people, that he was going to do something about the awful free trade agreement, that he was going to support a single-payer healthcare system. You know, that he was going to close Guantanamo, and he's basically bringing Guantanamo and the travesty of Guantanamo to U.S. citizens now through this latest decision in the National Defense Authorization Act. He has turned his back on every promise that he's made. So it's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But this isn't fool me twice. This is like fool me 400 times. You know, so I'd say, come on, you know, let's not be victims of this propaganda. We cannot afford another 4 years. Our economy is really on the rocks right now. The American people are hanging in there by a thread. We saw 2.5 million people join the ranks of the impoverished. Last year alone, 50% of American people now are in poverty or near poverty. You know, and what they call a job now doesn't even pay poverty wages. We can't go on like this, not to mention the climate. For those who are following the climate, we cannot wait 4 years, which is what Obama did to the climate agreement in South Africa. They basically prevented the possibility of climate progress nationally until 2020. And you know, and there will be no possibility, essentially, at that point, of preventing a spin-out of climate escalation. We will have triggered the tipping point at that point, and it will essentially be too late to stop climate catastrophe. So, you know, whatever you're keeping your eye on here, whether it's the possibility of having a job, or the possibility of having health care you can afford, or civil liberties and preventing, you know, the potential exercise of dictatorial powers, which the president has already begun to do in some ways by assassinating U.S. citizens and their children abroad. You know, these are not powers that should be given to any president ever at any time, and this president has just arranged for those powers to be given to all future presidents forever, essentially, no matter who it is. He's already abused those powers. You know, whatever you're keeping your eye on, it's not a good thing, and it's time to change it and take that power back. In the park!
In the park!
Yeah, other thoughts.
So I have some like thoughts. So I feel very disillusioned by both of the main parties, by the Republicans, by the Democrats. They're corrupt by corporate money. They don't speak for us anymore. I know Greens have done like a lot like across the country to get like onto local. We've had some Green governors. We've had some Green school board members elected, but like on the national level, there's just been so much suppression of third-party candidates and the debates and the ballot access laws that it's like even New Hampshire doesn't have a Green party. So it's so I guess my main question is what can we do to organize and end the two-party stranglehold over the election process, and what should the Green Party objectives be going forward from you?
Great, thank you. Perfect question, and you're absolutely right. The playing field is tipped against us at every level, in every way that they can come up with. But we are fighting back. And the Green Party is the one national party that has not been wiped off the face of the planet. We've made many efforts to establish progressive parties, and they've all been wiped out. About the time that the Green Party was founded, the New Party was founded, and the Labor Party were founded. And they were both basically wiped out. So the Green Party is sort of the one survivor, and it has the agenda that encompasses all of those, the agenda of progressive labor, of the environment, of the public interest. So it's kind of converged around the Green Party, and I think it's a really good time, and it's a good place for us to rally, particularly with the 99% and the Occupy movement that has brought so many people together in really inspiring ways. And in many ways, you can see these two movements merging, because the Green Party provides the infrastructure to break into the electoral process with that energy. So if the people in New Hampshire, the occupiers and the people of conscience in New Hampshire begin to work with us. We have some people now who are helping to reestablish the Green Party here in New Hampshire. We've been told, for 10 years that we've been spoilers, but now we're seeing what's really spoiled is our health care and our economy and all the rest. We don't, we're not accepting that propaganda anymore, that the solution to a corrupt system is for us to silence ourselves, because the politics of fear has brought us everything we've been afraid of. So, yes, if you want to give me your name here or just take one of our flyers and get in touch, we're working with people in New Hampshire now who are collecting signatures. We need somewhere around 2,000 signatures to get on the ballot for the general. It's pretty easy. With 10 people, you can do it in a weekend. So we can be sure that we're on the ballot in New Hampshire as we're making sure we're on the ballot in 45 other states. We're already on the ballot now in about 20 states, so we need to get about 25 more. There are 5 in which there's no way you can get on without being a millionaire or a billionaire, but they tend to be small population states. So we already have covered, I'd say, about 60%, 80% maybe of the American population, so that we can be a credible campaign. We are not a token campaign. We are not pretending, like the Occupy movement. I mean, we've been sort of parallel track for the same agenda, and we are carrying that same agenda of economic justice, of democracy, of campaign finance reform, of breaking up the big banks, of establishing state banks and worker cooperatives, and a single-payer healthcare system, bringing the troops home. It's basically the same agenda. We are carrying that into the presidential election because, at a time when, the old system is really falling apart, a lot of people are standing up. There is this very powerful movement for justice and democracy. It deserves to be heard in this election, and it really is a perfect storm for us to take the system back, whether we are 5% of the vote or if we are 55%. And truly, if word got out and people were actually, developed the spine to speak up for themselves and their future and not use their vote as a weapon against themselves, then we would be 55%. We'd probably be 75% of the vote, in the same way that Occupy had about 75% of American public opinion approval before the public relations campaigns, kicked in to try to disparage you.
How can the Green Party gain more traction when the DNC is owned by George Soros?
It's the same question, that I think we face on every count. It's like, how can the Green Party move forward? How can we move healthcare forward? How can we bring the troops home when the money is all on the other side? And these are the same questions that were asked right up until the day that hundreds of thousands of people came out to topple Hosni Mubarak. These are the same questions that said, we couldn't do it in Tunisia. These were the same questions that said in Madison, Wisconsin, that people were just going to submit to Governor Walker, and they're in the process now of mounting their recall campaign. So the same thing happened in East Germany just before the wall fell. And I think in order to actually turn a breaking point into a tipping point, that is what we have to realize, that we are at that point of breakthrough, and it is the power of the vision and the power of community and the power of what we see going on in the Occupy movement that enables us to take that energy, to focus it, and to use this election as the powerful tipping point that it should be.
Are you with the Green Party?
Yes, I am. I'm. You can get one of the flyers. I'm the candidate in the presidential race.
What's your name?
Jill Stein.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you so much. Get a flyer. My campaign person is walking around. Rich, if you could pass out a bunch more flyers, that would be great. Yeah, sure. Hi, Mike. Yeah.
I'm from a Swedish newspaper.
You're from which one? A Spanish newspaper?
Swedish.
A Swedish newspaper. Okay, great.
About American politics.
Yes,
And I
okay.
have a section here about the Green Party.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Great, I can talk to you.
Yes, okay. Great. Is it all right with you if we have some listeners?
No problem.
Okay, great.
I don't think I have a composer around here.
Great.
I can take one of those flyers.
Yes, please.
So, but tell me your name, because I have to record it.
Yeah, okay, so I'm Jill Stein, and I'm a candidate with the Green Party.
And you're the candidate. Well, I'm sorry, I haven't been there for a while.
I'm a candidate with the Green Party. We have our primary process as well, so I'm not yet the official candidate, but I am the one candidate that is running a national campaign.
So where do you live now?
I live in outside Boston, in Lexington, the home of the first American Revolution, and we are in the process of creating the second peaceful America. Woo-hoo!
So, maybe I have to go back to what you work with and so on.
Pardon me?
What you work with and so on, so I just have the background.
Oh, my background. I am a medical doctor by training, and I'd say about 15 or 20 years ago, I realized that the healthcare system was very broken. It wasn't delivering healthcare, and I began to work then on the community drivers of this chronic disease epidemic that we're in, and which our broken healthcare system is very much a part of. In the process of working upstream, I discovered that we cannot fix our healthcare system or our health or the problems in our communities until we fix the broken political system. I was recruited to run for office the first time about 10 years ago with the Green Party, who came to me and said, "We think what you're talking about is important. Would you run?" I had never been a part of the political system, had zero faith in it, was not interested in it, but I thought, okay, maybe this is a good way to broaden this conversation. When I ran for office for the first time in 2002, I discovered, oh my God, it is not the way the media wants you to think about it. There are people out there who can really smell a rat. They smell a rat in the Democratic and Republican parties, and people are really hungry for a politics of integrity. So I've continued to do that work with the Green Party.
I'm trying to understand now when I've been looking at the Occupy movement. If it's going to be a force in the next election, who is going to use that force? And obviously you're trying to tap into the energy.
I think as many of us who can use that force, all the better. And that's why I think it's really important for Occupy to have a political voice. And I think the Green Party has basically been working on the same agenda, fortunately, so that we can join forces going forward and bring those issues into the electoral process at the local level, especially, as well